In shape, 145.
Yeah.
In shape. You know what I mean? So this is different from a Crawford coming up to 168, but we know his walk around weight is probably 170, 180.
Gervonta Tank Davis' only shortcoming, pun intended, is his height. He's 5'5" with a 67-inch arm reach. But as you can see here, he's working on his versatility.
Terence Crawford reportedly paid a visit to Gervonta Davis ahead of his highly anticipated fight with Jake Paul, offering training tips and strategic insights. The two champions reportedly exchanged techniques and discussed different approaches to the ring, demonstrating a strong mutual respect. Crawford is said to have praised Davis for his talent and dedication, highlighting his impressive work ethic. He even suggested that if Davis ever wanted to step into the ring with him, he would welcome the opportunity, not as a rivalry, but as a gesture of respect for the sport of boxing itself.
Gervonta Davis speaking about you. Is that ever a possible fight?
Yeah, if he want to dare to be great, he can be like all the other fighters that's moving up 2 weight classes and, daring to be great.
You would fight him.
Man, tell him to come up there.
He got to come to win 54.
He said I got a glass chin, so tell him to come and touch it.
Wow,
man.
Gervonta said you got a glass.
He said I got a glass chin. Tell him to come and touch it.
At 147?
At 147. I'll make 147 for him.
Ooh, see, oh man.
You're gonna have a pre-camp.
Then what the people gonna say? Oh, he's beating up on little guys.
Gervonta Davis seems to be taking cues from Terence Crawford, one of boxing's most technically skilled fighters. Crawford's preparation for Canelo Alvarez drew attention for his constant stance switches, impeccable balance, and unpredictable rhythm, tactics that kept opponents off guard. Now, Tank appears to be adopting a similar approach. Recent training clips show him experimenting with footwork, altering angles, and even switching stances mid-combination, a technique rarely seen from him before. Observers suggest he's not only learning from Crawford, but also studying Jaron "Boots" Ennis, who excels at fighting comfortably from both stances. This evolution hints at Tank's strategy to catch everyone by surprise in his upcoming bout with Jake Paul.
Right. This is scary. Gervonta Tank Davis is working on his versatility. We already know he has that ultimate equalizer, that special God-gifted one-punch knockout power. But he also can box. Gervonta Tank Davis, he's very durable, has a chin, never seen him visibly hurt. Gervonta Tank Davis also has great footwork and foot placement. And here you see Gervonta Tank Davis' only shortcomings, pun intended, is his height. He's 5'5" with a 67-inch arm reach. But as you can see here, he's working on his versatility. He's now working on fighting orthodox. He's naturally a southpaw. Now he's working on fighting orthodox. Great switch hitters, no diddy, in the sport of boxing.
Showbiz the Adult, a well-known boxing commentator, emphasized that the Tank versus Jake fight has to stay thrilling. He noted that many fans worry it could end up looking like a controlled sparring session, with both fighters holding back to avoid embarrassment. But if that happens, it could instantly harm both of their careers. Audiences would lose interest, and future pay-per-views could suffer. With Tank and Jake both commanding huge followings that expect action and excitement, this fight can't be tentative. It needs to deliver real intensity, because if it falls flat, all the hype surrounding it could disappear in an instant.
Career ending. It could be career ending. Jake Paul can end his whole shit. That's the black. Tank can end Jake Paul's whole shit. And if that fight is meh, and it's just a sparring session that's tit for tat, their shit's over. Because people gonna be pissed that it's exactly what they expected it to be. They can't do that. If they do, their career's ruined. Jake Paul career's ruined, and Tank. If they make it meh and just touch, both their brands suck. That's the black two sugars. You mess around in that bell ring, and you see little Tank, and you see big Jake, and he's throwing a jab, and little Tank making a miss, and bam, and y'all gonna be like, whoa, say I'm lying. Y'all, you know what? Yes, say I'm lying. Please say I'm lying. But y'all gonna be right there, cheering, because you ain't never seen nothing that damn bizarre. Even De La Hoya versus Shaq had headgear, and Shaq ain't a boxer. That right there, fireworks. Because you're going to be holding your breath, especially Tank fans. I'm going to be like, don't hit Tank. You're going to see Tank little ass legs. He's going to, and big ass Jake, big legs and big ass head. Bam, bam. Watch. Y'all talk all that shit now because y'all love talking shit. Y'all love hating on things until you see it. Like women back in the 90s. I remember my sisters back in the 90s. You ain't that cute. You ain't, but all on your shit. That's what y'all do. Y'all talk shit, but y'all the first ones there.
Keith Thurman highlighted an interesting truth about Gervonta Davis and his critics. He pointed out that many of the people who constantly criticize Tank are the same ones who never miss his fights. They argue that his performances aren't up to par, yet they tune in to watch every event he's involved in. Thurman believes this kind of behavior actually works in Tank's favor. Their scrutiny, even when negative, only amplifies his presence in the boxing world. Every time they call his fights disappointing, they inadvertently shine a bigger spotlight on him, helping to sustain his popularity and influence.
If you're really not happy with Tank, first off, don't watch Tank. Don't do it. You know what I'm saying? You support it, then what you doing? You can't not support and support at the same time, right? So if you're a boxing purist, then this fight with Roach is really more for you. It's going to be more up your alley, you know? If you just like all entertainment, all fights, all hypes, all everything, then you're going to want to tune in to the Tank and Paul show there, you know, because that's all for entertainment. What does it say? For entertainment purposes only, right? It's just say like somewhere in the small print of the promotion. For entertainment, don't do this at home, kids. You know, so fine.
Disclaimer.
Yeah, disclaimer. For entertainment purposes only, you know. So, it's money-making purposes only. You know, it is what it is, people.
When Clarissa Shields suggested that Tank's only logical next fight would be against Shakur Stevenson, it didn't sit well with him. Tank responded firmly, saying, "No one has the right to tell me what to do. If people want to be fans, they should just be fans, not managers." His reaction comes from a deeper place. After his draw with Lamont Roach, many fans turned on him online, labeling him overrated. That criticism clearly left a mark, and now Tank has made it clear he's done following anyone else's expectations. His approach is simple. He fights on his own terms, not for anyone's approval.
And says that, pretty much the only people that can beat him is Shakur Stevenson. And I don't know who else he said. He said she thought that at a point in time that Devin Haney could beat him, but now she doesn't believe that. But so really the only fight that there is for Gervonta Davis is Shakur. What a mighty, mighty convenient argument. And Gervonta Davis responded. And basically his response was, "Come on, girl, stop talking about me so much because you're making me feel like I'm special." Right? So he pretty much just, kind of blows it off. But I really think that there's something much deeper going on here. And it is that this, and I said it again, I said it in another video, I'll say it in this one. The Bud Buddies. The Bud Buddies are a crew of boxers that all hang around and worship Terence Bud Crawford. And the main two members of it, besides the people that are actually in Terence Crawford's camp, as fighters are Shakur Stevenson and Clarissa Shields, without a doubt. Clarissa Shields is a huge backer of Terence and a huge backer of Shakur Stevenson. At the end of the day, the only thing she really cares about is what's in the best interest of Shakur Stevenson. And anything and everything she say is angled that way to get Gervonta Davis to do something that Shakur Stevenson wants him to do, which is really do all the hard work and then be there for Shakur Stevenson to become a star at the end of it. I'm telling you, man, I believe that to the bottom of my soul, that is the same plan that Terence Crawford ran on Errol Spence Jr.
The matchup between Tank and Jake Paul doesn't follow the conventions of traditional boxing. Many analysts have noted that fights like this aren't truly competitive. They occupy a space somewhere between legitimate sport and spectacle. What makes this fight particularly unusual is that both men are still in their primes. Exhibition bouts usually make sense for athletes past their peak, such as Mayweather's recent showcases. Here, however, both fighters are active, capable, and still climbing their respective careers. That's what makes this event so striking. It blurs the line between a serious boxing contest and a viral entertainment stunt.
Fights like this with fighters pretty much in their prime. But other than the size mismatch, most people are wondering why has Tank taken this fight, and those were the first questions targeted to Tank in this presser, because usually these sorts of bouts are relegated to the latter part of your career. And for most Gervonta Davis supporters, they thought they would get the big fights next, the Shakurs. They didn't think he would be fighting Jake Paul. Although Tank tried to push it off as fans should just be happy watching the sport and hey, haters will be haters, I think that's quite unfair to the people who have been loyal supporters of him and honestly have paid his bills. He tried to compare the level of criticism he gets to the likes of Mayweather, but the difference is with his mentor Floyd, he really did fight a lot of champs in their prime. Has Tank? Well, not really. The most notable fight he's recently had that the people actually wanted was the Ryan Garcia fight, and the only reason he took that fight was because everything was on his terms. And other than the Ryan fight over the last couple years, it's either been people who aren't in his weight division, which he's pulling up, or fighters ranked in the lower half of the top 10 lightweight list. The fights people have truly wanted to see just have never materialized, and simply that's why people criticize him. If the likes of Crawford never fought Spence or Usyk never fought Fury or Joshua, they would have caught the same level of flack. The reason why fighters like them are applauded is because generally they take on whatever challenge is in front of them. Tank instead, his whole career has bobbed and weaved around the most significant challenges that the people actually want to see unless he has everything his way.
Another major concern surrounding this fight is the enormous weight gap. Jake Paul walks around near cruiserweight levels, while Tank Davis typically competes between lightweight and super lightweight, creating a difference of roughly 60 to 70 pounds. This is precisely why boxing has weight classes, to prevent mismatches in power and reduce the risk of serious injury. Allowing bouts like this to become commonplace undermines the very system designed to protect fighters. Even if it's billed as an exhibition, such a significant physical imbalance could make the contest not only unsafe but fundamentally unfair.
Assuming there's no rehydration clause, which I don't believe there is, he'll probably weigh around 215 pounds in the ring. That means there's a sort of a 60 to 70 pound difference between the two men in the ring on fight night, which is absolutely enormous. There are weight classes for a reason in boxing, and this is the sort of thing that is typically not allowed or permitted. And like I said in my intro, it goes to the heart of that key question in boxing, which is how big is too big? It's the reason that the pound for pound list exists, where we kind of imagine if everybody was the same size, who's the best, who's number one? And it's a debate that rages on and on and on. And so when I see a fight like this, I think the hardcore boxing fans, generally speaking, have felt frustrated by it. Yes, because we want Gervonta Davis as part of the actual sport, competing for world titles against the other elite guys in his weight class. But also because if he gets knocked out and loses to Jake Paul, it creates this illusion that Jake Paul's much better than he actually is. And so I guess the question for me is, can Gervonta Davis beat Jake Paul, or will Jake Paul simply be too massive? Can Jake Paul use his size, or will Gervonta Davis simply be too skilled? What's the answer here? And in trying to answer this, I looked to history, and there's one fight that immediately popped out of my mind, and I thought, I wonder what the size difference was there. In fact, it may even be more significant, and it was, and the small guy won. Some of you might be thinking about it right now. It's when David Haye took on the monster, the absolutely ginormous human being, Nikolai Valuev. I think it took place around 2009. So at the time, I was literally a teenager. I didn't have a clue what I was looking at, and I'd fully bought into this David versus Goliath story. But I think it's an excellent example here to draw comparisons between the Gervonta Davis-Jake Paul fight to try and understand whether or not this is a good template and blueprint to try and predict and understand what the size difference might look like in the ring. Now, David Haye was 6'3" and was 217 pounds for the Valuev fight, whereas Valuev was 7 foot tall and weighed 316 pounds.
The Jake Paul versus Tank Davis matchup isn't just about skill or power. It's about the direction boxing could take in the future. If Jake pulls off a win, it might pave the way for more exhibition-style bouts between social media stars and professional fighters. That could shift attention away from traditional championship fights toward spectacle-driven events, where drama outweighs discipline. Fans might start seeing standard boxing as slow or predictable, preferring viral chaos over technical mastery. Conversely, if Tank dominates, it could reinforce the value of genuine boxing skill, proving that technique and experience still matter more than hype. Despite the debate, most fans are secretly eager to see how it unfolds. Jake's bouts are unorthodox, unpredictable, and full of dramatic moments. Throwing Tank into that mix makes the matchup even more explosive. Many who have drifted away from traditional boxing might tune in, not necessarily for the sport, but for the sheer entertainment factor. Strange as it seems, this fight reflects what modern audiences crave: something chaotic, unpredictable, and controversial, boxing that shocks as much as it thrills.
The purists hate it, the algorithm loves it, and both will watch. It's not just who wins, it's what wins. Will the entertainment value or the ring IQ come out on top? Because if Tank dominates, the meme dies. Jake Paul survives or hits it big, we see new rules are going to be written in real time. Me, you, maybe everyone at some point has been that bigger guy thinking that I'll just bully him. Jab, slip, liver shot, sat me down real nicely. Size helped until it didn't. All I'm saying is, let's not dismiss something because it looks weird. Many fights get decided by the details. Feet before fists, timing before muscle, discipline before clout. Look, Tank wins if he stays Tank. He's built on patience, traps, explosive counters. That's hell for a tall guy who gets eager. Jake's long jab is the gate, but Tank's head movement is the key. Once he times it, the door's getting open and the furniture is going to get rearranged. Think locksmith versus padlock. Big padlock looks scary until the right tool clicks once. Jake throws that overhand like he's bowling with the shoulder. Effective, but you don't see it.
Promoter Eddie Hearn offered one of the most pointed critiques of this matchup. He stated, "Boxing and entertainment are two very different things. When you combine them, the sport risks losing its identity." From Hearn's perspective, Tank versus Jake isn't about genuine competition. It's a business-driven spectacle designed for attention and revenue, not for legacy or titles. He warned that this kind of event could be dangerous for the sport. Once fans begin to accept these types of fights as legitimate, the credibility of boxing could be seriously undermined. Hearn's view carries extra weight because he has witnessed firsthand how quickly entertainment-focused bouts can overshadow true championship contests.
Always said that there was a chance that Jake would fight in November. I think, wasn't I the one that broke Jake Paul against Gervonta Davis 6 months ago or something? I knew that they'd agree that deal. I didn't know they were about to announce it then, but I did know that they'd agreed that deal previously. So I don't like it, if I'm honest. I mean, I think we need to really differentiate between boxing and an entertainment concept, and that's what that is. It's a freak show, it's entertainment, it's a lightweight fighting a cruiserweight, you know, with, I don't know, is it bigger gloves and certain minutes per round? I don't know what it is, but, you know, I understand the market and I understand this freak show, shock kind of the world mentality of people potentially tuning in. Is that a step too far? Maybe. I mean, I hated Jake Paul against Mike Tyson, but it did massive numbers. I hate Jake Paul against Gervonta Davis. It'll probably do massive numbers. So that's when you really have to differentiate yourself between, just because you don't like it doesn't mean it isn't going to do good business.
Former champion Sean Porter offered a more personal take on Jake Paul's rise in boxing. He explained that most fighters who face Jake do so for the paycheck, not out of respect. The purses are huge, and few can turn them down. But Porter emphasized that Jake hasn't yet earned genuine admiration within the boxing world. The respect he receives is often superficial. People acknowledge his business savvy more than his skill inside the ring. His team knows how to market him, but true recognition in boxing comes from taking on and defeating elite competition, a level money alone cannot provide. This fight highlights how the sport is evolving into a business-driven arena. For Jake, it's another opportunity to show he belongs alongside real boxers. For Tank, it's a chance to see how far his brand can extend beyond the ring. Both are marketing powerhouses, but in very different ways. Jake builds fame through spectacle, while Tank builds it through skill.